Actually, the real perfection of devotion is you should be swimming in an ocean of devotion at every minute. That's when you perfected it. In the beginning, you're just dipping your toes in. Well, I don't know, the water seems a little cold. But once you actually master the art of how to enter that nectar of the ocean of the nectar of devotion, then you can deep sea dive for all of eternity in the sweet mellows of Krishna Bhakti. So this book, we highly recommend everybody purchase this book if you don't have it. They must have it in the store here. If they don't, they should order it. Nectar of Devotion. And study it, because this is Prabhupada's book that he gave in the early days of the movement. It's a summary study of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, one of the chief followers of Lord Chaitanya. So we read a whole section last night, which was the first. There's actually 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. The first one is that pure devotional service brings immediate relief from all kinds of material distress. This should be of interest to us, because we have so much stress, isn't it? So much distress. Well, here's how to become free from all distress. And that's the first, and there's 5 more wonderful symptoms. Second one is the beginning of all auspiciousness. This means it's beneficial for all living entities. Just like when you water the root of the tree, you're nourishing every leaf and branch. Or when you feed your belly, you're feeding your whole body. So when you take up Krishna consciousness, you're actually acting for the welfare of every single living entity in all of existence, even that mosquito over there. The microbial germs, the dogs, the cats, the demigods, Lord Brahma. You're acting for even your own family members and your own self. You're acting for the ultimate benefit of everyone. So we'll read about how Prabhupada explains this. Krishna consciousness is all auspicious. Srila Rupa Goswami has given a definition of auspiciousness. He says that actual auspiciousness means welfare activities for all the people of the world. At the present moment, groups of people are engaged in welfare activities in terms of society, community, or nation. There is even an attempt in the form of the United Nations for world help activity, but due to the shortcomings of limited national activities, such a general mass welfare program for the whole world is practically impossible. The Krishna consciousness movement, however, is so nice that it can render the highest benefit to the entire human race. Everyone can be attracted by this movement, and everyone can feel the result. Therefore, Rupa Goswami and other learned scholars agree that a broad propaganda program for the Krishna consciousness movement and devotional service all over the world is the highest humanitarian welfare activity. Wow. We're in the right place then. See, Prabhupada's movement is the greatest welfare for all living beings. So we have to realize what our duty is. Actually, Prabhupada told us on the morning walk in Los Angeles, deliver the world. So you want to know what your duty is? Become a pure devotee and deliver the world. And this is the orders coming down from our founder Acharya for every ISKCON member. Become the pure devotee and deliver the world. That's your life's mission. You're meant to become the pure devotee and deliver the world. Not just build a nice house. Of course, you can have a nice house. We have no objection. But in that nice house, you should be cultivating pure devotional service and doing everything you possibly can to make the whole world Krishna conscious. Because that is called love. When people are suffering, those who have compassion try to relieve them from their suffering. So the whole world right now is suffering due to a lack of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, those who have actual compassion, they try to awaken as much Krishna consciousness as they can within themselves, so they have empowerment, and then they take that, whatever they've realized, and they share it with the whole world. How the Krishna consciousness movement can attract, Prabhupada continues now, how the Krishna consciousness movement can attract the attention of the whole world and how each and every man can feel pleasure in this Krishna consciousness is stated in the Padma Purana as follows, quote, "A person who is engaged in devotional service in full Krishna consciousness is to be understood to be doing the best service to the whole world and to be pleasing everyone in the world. In addition to human society, he is pleasing even the trees and animals because they are also attracted by such a movement." Now, sometimes people worry, well, what will my parents think or my relatives think if I get too much into Krishna consciousness? But actually, the fact is you're doing the best service for your family, your friends, your community by becoming Krishna conscious. You're the best member of your whole family when you do that. Not that you're neglecting your family. Now you're doing the very best service for your family when you become Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada now gives an example. A practical example of this was shown by Lord Chaitanya when he was traveling to the forest of Jharkhand in central India for spreading his Sankirtan movement. The tigers, the elephants, the deer, and all the other wild animals joined him and were participating in their own ways by dancing and chanting Hare Krishna. Can you imagine that scene? All the animals are dancing in the kirtan. Wow. That's amazing. Furthermore, a person engaged in Krishna consciousness, acting in devotional service, can develop all the good qualities that are generally found in the demigods. It is stated by Shukadeva Goswami in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 18th chapter, verse 12. "My dear king, persons who have unflinching faith in Krishna and are without duplicity can develop all the good qualities of the demigods. On account of a devotee's high grade of Krishna consciousness, even the demigods like to live with him, and therefore it can be understood that the qualities of the demigods are developed within his body." Do you ever think about that? If you become advanced in Krishna consciousness, all the demigods will kind of want to come and live with you. Can you imagine? Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Ganesh, Saraswati, they all want to come and get your association. It's about that thing. You see. This is the power of pure devotional service. You can attract even all the demigods. 33 million demigods will become attracted for your association if you take up devotional service very seriously and this world deliverance mission very seriously. It's pretty amazing stuff. Now Prabhupada talks about on the other hand, a person who is not in Krishna consciousness has no good qualities. He may be very highly educated from the academic point of view, but in the actual field of his activities, he can be seen to be baser than the animals. Even though a person is highly educated academically, if he cannot go beyond the sphere of mental activities, he is sure to perform only material activities and thus remain impure. There are so many persons in the material world who have been highly educated in the materialistic universities, but it's seen they cannot take up the movement of Krishna consciousness and develop the high qualities of the demigods. That immediately reminds me of that famous PhD, Dr. Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking says, when explaining the origin of everything, he says, everything comes out of nothing. Can you imagine? That was his philosophy. Everything comes out of nothing. And they call that science. You see, in science, you can say, well, my theory is that, water is a combination of 2 parts hydrogen and 1 part of oxygen. So they can do that in the lab. In fact, when I was a chemistry student, we did that. We took 2 parts of, and in high school we did that. Went down to the teacher, said, okay, students, we're going to the lab today, we're doing a little experiment, and we did it. I took 2 parts of hydrogen and 1 part of oxygen in my test tube, and boom, what did I get but water, you see? So that's science, you see. There's a theory, and then you can actually apply it and get the result. So if he has a theory, everything comes out of nothing. So let him try it, Take nothing and get something out of it. Let any scientist take nothing and get something out of it. It's never been done. Can't be done, you see. But yet people think, oh, he's a great scientist, one of the greatest brains in the history of the world, Dr. Stephen Hawking. He said everything came out of nothing. So this is what they call science, this is what they call education, but such persons are low class, very low class. We don't follow such rakshasas. We follow the great acharyas. That is our Krishna consciousness movement. And Prabhupada continues here. For example, a Krishna conscious boy, even if he's not very well educated by the university standard, actually this reminds me, when Prabhupada started this movement, the philosophy of the youth was to drop out of college and give up university education. There was a famous saying in those days called, tune in, turn on, and drop out. That was a mantra for the youth. Tune in to higher consciousness. Tune in, turn on to, of course they had different ideas of turning on, but in Krishna consciousness we turn on our spiritual identities, you see. We tune into Krishna, we turn on our spiritual identity, and we drop out of the material world. So many of us were college dropouts. I was also a college dropout, you see. I made it through 2 years of college and that was it, finished. Irrelevant. Spiritual revolution is what is relevant, but this college, that was my mood. Spiritual revolution, but not this nonsense university education. I remember as a university student, I was wondering, what is the meaning of life? But they didn't tell me. Even in the philosophy class, they didn't tell us what the meaning of life is. So I used to go to the campus bookstore to wander the shelves to find out what is the meaning of life. And one day I found it. It was a book with 2 essays by a famous philosopher named Soren Kierkegaard. There was 2 titles. The first title was Fear and Trembling. The second title was The Sickness Unto Death. I said, that's what life is. It's a disease of fear and trembling until you finally die and it's finished. That was all I got out of my university education. That's what life is. But I said, no, that's not enough. So I went on a quest for spiritual enlightenment, and Krishna came to me. And here I am, as a college dropout. For example, a Krishna conscious boy, even if he is not very well educated by the university, because I'm not saying you all should drop out. It's okay. For example, a Krishna conscious boy, even if he is not very well educated by the university standard, can immediately give up all illicit sex life, gambling, meat eating, and intoxication, where those who are not in Krishna consciousness, although very highly educated, are often drunkards, meat eaters, sex mongers, and gamblers. These are practical proofs of how a Krishna conscious person becomes highly developed in good qualities, whereas a person who is not in Krishna consciousness cannot do so. We experience that even a young boy in Krishna consciousness is unattached to cinemas, nightclubs, naked dance shows, restaurants, liquor shops, etc. He becomes completely freed. He saves his valuable time from being extravagantly spent in the way of smoking, drinking, attending the theater, and dancing. It's really wonderful, how Prabhupada's liberated us from all that stuff. Completely liberated us. What is that banging? Prabhupada has liberated us. Oh, it's just the sound system. It's fireworks? Oh. So-called enjoyment. Yeah. In America, they have a big thing on the 4th of July. They put up the day that America declared independence from Great Britain. The colonies said, we are now independent. And they have all kinds of fireworks. But that is not real independence, you see. Real independence is when you become independent from the modes of material nature. You see, that's the declaration of independence that we actually can declare, you see. By taking shelter of Krishna, we get true independence. You see. Otherwise, there's no freedom, actually. In the material world, everybody's a slave, everybody's just come on. Tell them to stop those fireworks and disrupting the lecture. They won't listen to us, though. So we need to understand that all this big show of the material nature, like these fireworks, it may appear to be something very significant, something very entertaining and enjoyable, but shrama eva kevalam, it's simply a useless waste of time. What do they gain by blowing off all these fireworks and jumping up and down? Whoopee, these wonderful fireworks. They're still being dragged by the laws of nature to death. And due to their karma, they'll become animals and plants and even germs and worms in the next life, you see. So what's the value of their big fireworks display? What do they achieve by blowing off all the fireworks? You see? If you want actual liberation, if you want actual independence, then declare independence from the modes of nature by taking shelter of Guru and Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness movement. Prabhupada continues, one who is not in Krishna consciousness usually cannot sit silently even for half an hour. The yoga system teaches that if you become silent, you will realize that you are God. This symptom may be all right for materialistic persons, but how long will they be able to keep themselves silent? Artificially, they may sit down for so-called meditation, but immediately after their yogic performance, they will engage themselves again in such activities as illicit sex life, gambling, meeting, and many other nonsensical things. But a Krishna-conscious person gradually elevates himself without endeavoring for this so-called silent meditation. Simply because he is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he automatically gives up all this nonsense and develops a high character. One develops the highest character by becoming a pure devotee of Krishna. Conclusion is that no one can truly have any good qualities if he is lacking in Krishna consciousness. So what is this silent meditation? You have to make your mind blank. Okay, now, blank your mind. The guru, the so-called guru said, now, my dear students, make your mind blank. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, I got to make my mind blank. I got to make my mind blank. It's not blank. If you're thinking about making your mind blank, your mind is not blank. You see what I'm saying? So you can't really blank your mind. This idea was there in some of these bogus gurus. They said, turn off your mind, relax and float downstream. The Beatles had one song like that. Turn off your mind, relax and float downstream. Turn off your mind. It's ridiculous. You can't turn off your mind. If you want to get your mind free from the material nature, you just can't go worship and switch it off. You can't do that. But you can put it on the spiritual plane, you see. The other thing in the mind is like a radio. You just turn off the radio. But it's not like that. The mind by nature is active. As long as you have, see, the mind is a concomitant factor. It's part of the subtle body. The mind, as long as you are here, this mind will be active. You'll either be doing nonsense or you'll be properly situated. If you don't situate it in the spiritual platform, it'll be all nonsense. So instead of making your mind blank, you see, yato, Krishna says, yato nischalati manashtanchalamastaram tatastato nayam yaitat atmanyeva vashamyayat. From whatever and wherever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly bring it back under the control of the self. And what is the practical means of doing that? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When the mind finds some better engagement, you see, then it can give up all the nonsense. So our program is that higher taste, you see. Instead of just denying the lower taste, you give the man, it's easy to give up the lower taste, you have a higher taste. If I give you $1,000, you go, wow, $1,000 US? Woo! It's a lot of rupees. Say, now give it back. Oh. But if I give you $1 million, in exchange of 1,000, immediately give up the 1,000. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I can give up this crummy 1,000 for $1 million. Sure, give me the $1 million. You see. So that is Krishna consciousness. You see. That sense gratification, that's $1,000. Krishna consciousness is $1 million. You see. So we want to teach you how to actually experience that, which is even more value than. We just found out the highest valued company in the whole right now is Aramco. $2 trillion or 3? Was it 2 or 3? We saw it today at the dentist's office. This company is worth $2 trillion. An oil company in Saudi Arabia, it's valued at $2 trillion. That's the value of the company. But that's peanuts compared to Krishna consciousness. The most valuable company in the world, valued today at $2 trillion, is peanuts on the floor compared to Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So you're better than a trillionaire. You're better than a quadrillionaire. Just by saying, okay, Krishna, I belong to you. You're my eternal master. Now take me and engage me in your service however you like. However you want me to speak, however you want me to think, however you want me to act in all times, places, and circumstances. As that prayer by Prabhupada, I'm just a puppet, you make me dance as you like. We did finish this section here, and Krishna consciousness is all auspicious. We don't have 4 more lectures for the other sections, but maybe next time we can continue, and I come back 6 months from now, we can come back in the wintertime to the other ones. Happy? So any questions here on how Krishna consciousness is all auspicious? And what time do we usually end? 8:30? Okay. Maybe there's time to go to the next section. Let's see how long it is. No, it's very, very long. Oh, it's huge. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 pages. We'll never, no sense. I'd rather just, we can take questions, or I can just start at the next section. Any other question? Comments? Guru Maharaji, we'd like to add some points. So everybody is convinced that Krishna consciousness is all auspicious, that it's for the ultimate benefit of everyone. Even if your family says, I don't like just like there's one girl a young teenage girl, she wants to be a devotee, but her parents they don't like religion. It's an Indian girl. She's writing me and she doesn't know what to do. She's trapped. She wants to come and associate with us when we come to Melbourne, but she's trapped. Her parents don't like Krishna consciousness. If she even tells them what she's into, they start criticizing him. So the fact is that she may feel a difficulty to be Krishna conscious, but actually, if she's actually, even though they're against Krishna consciousness, her parents, she's doing them the highest service by being in Krishna conscious. So everyone should be fully convinced that by practicing Krishna consciousness, even if my family doesn't like it, my friends don't like it, even if the atheists don't like it, doesn't matter what they think. The fact is, by my practicing Krishna consciousness, I'm engaged in the highest welfare activity for every single living entity throughout the entire existence. That's the great power of Krishna consciousness. So you should have complete conviction. By practicing this, you're doing the best welfare for all living entities, even if they don't like it. My mother didn't like it. My father thought it was okay. My mother would bring me a Bible, like, you got the message, son, you should be going to church. She didn't realize that actually Lord Jesus was also a Vaishnava. She had no realization. She wasn't. I love my dear mom, but she philosophically she wasn't there. I love her very much, actually. I was her firstborn child, and she had great affection for me. So, I naturally feel some love for her. But philosophically, she didn't have it. But my dad was different. He thought he had glorified our practice to his friends. When we got married, we had a reception at the family, the house, and he invited all their friends over, and he glorified our movement to all the guests. My father was more open-minded than my mom, but still, even though she couldn't understand it, couldn't appreciate it, actually it was the greatest blessing for her that I take up Krishna consciousness. The greatest blessing for her life, that her firstborn son now is fully dedicated in life to Krishna. It's very beneficial for her, you see. Actually, Prabhupada explains that 14 generations your family members are all liberated when you become Krishna conscious. So your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, your great-great... You liberate so many generations. So don't feel bad that someone may not like that you're practicing Krishna consciousness. You're doing the greatest benefit for many, many generations. How to prevent impurities? How to prevent impurities from coming in the mind? Well, you just got to keep the mind fixed in Krishna consciousness, you see. As soon as you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is you pray to Krishna, my dear Lord, please bless me that I can be purely absorbed at every minute in your service throughout the day. Please bless me, my mind can be fully absorbed in thinking of you at every second throughout the day. You just immediately beg Krishna that my day might be a day of pure devotion. And then you can, Guru Manaji and I we get up early before Mangalarti. We chant our rounds before Mangalarti. And then we take our bath and have Mangalarti. So the idea is just structure your day so the first preference is Krishna. Not that you sleep late in the morning, you get up and drag yourself off to work with no japa, no studying. You see what I'm saying? You have to put Krishna first. So go to bed early and get up early. We even have a saying in America. One of the famous original leaders of America named Benjamin Franklin, he said, early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. And Prabhupada quoted that when he introduced Mangalarti to our movement. So go to bed early, get up early. You don't come here for Mangalarti, you have a Mangalarti at home. Just like at Archana Siddhi's house, they have a very nice Mangalarti every day at 4:30 a.m. Very nice Mangalarti. They have Gornatai, very nice temple room, very nice altar, very clean. So if you want to know how to do it, come to their house at 4:30 in the morning. And you'll see how householders can have very nice Mangalarti every day. So if you're not doing it at home, then you should either come to the temple or start having a Mangalarti at home. Even if you're living alone, you can have a little altar and you can do some puja and sing Gurvastakam prayers. Everyone should sing Gurvastakam prayers every morning. That should be a standard part of your day. So that if you create that kind of atmosphere in the morning where you just go deep, deep, deep into bhakti, you see, then Krishna will bless you that now that you've gotten that taste that, wow, Krishna consciousness is so delicious. It's so relishable. It's so sweet. It's so full of ras. Like the ultimate glub jamun just exploding in my mouth. It's so wonderful. You see. And then that way you can stay fixed throughout the day. Is it difficult to give liberation in one lifetime? It can be difficult or very easy also. If you take complete shelter of the bona fide spiritual master, then not my only business is to please my spiritual master with my every thought, word, and deed at all times, places, and circumstances. You're already liberated. You don't have to wait for death. You're already a liberated soul, you see. You can be a liberated soul right here, right now, at this very minute. If you're totally sold out to your spiritual master, to Guru and Gauranga and Radha Krishna, if you're totally sold out to them, in your mind right now, if you're singing, okay, Guru Maharaj, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Radha Krishna, now I fully dedicate my life to you. Let my every thought, word, and deed in all times, places, and circumstances give you unlimited pleasure. If you embrace that and move right now, you're already a liberated soul. Even before death, you're liberated right now. So it's up to you. You can be liberated right now or you can wait. It's your choice. You want to embrace that mood of total surrender, you're liberated right now. As good as back to home, back to Godhead, right now. Your choice. Some people believe they will get liberation by merging with the Supreme. Please comment. This is called Sayuja Mukti, the idea of merging with the Supreme, becoming one, like that. There is a Sayuja Mukti that is given to demons, but it's only a temporary liberation. By the way, they fall back again to material existence. That's not a permanent liberation. A sense of being one with the Supreme is a type of liberation, but the Vaishnava is shunit because it's only temporary, because there's no sense of personal existence. There's no sense of a loving relationship. Love doesn't exist there, because the sense of identity, the sense of relationship is totally removed in that Sayuja Mukti. And to achieve it actually takes millions of lifetimes. We don't have the power to even achieve it in this age of Kali. You see? What is that verse? 40, is it? Yasha Prabhava Bhavato Jagananda Koti Kotish Vasesavat. Is it that one about? Which one is about impersonal liberation in the Brahma Samhita? You remember which number? Huh? Brahma Samhita. Pantastukoti satavatsara sampagam yo Vayuratapi manaso munibungavanam sopyasti yad papachintyapachintyatat govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe, who's approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by building the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman. How does that go after that? After thousands and millions of years, yeah. So that non-differentiated Brahman is a type of, but it takes thousands and millions of years, as Lord Brahma states in the Brahma Samhita, text number 34, yeah. You can look it up, 534 Brahma Samhita. That impersonal liberation takes thousands and millions of years. So right now we only have we don't have thousands and millions of years at our disposal in this Kali Yuga. So why even think about impersonal liberation? And even after you achieve it, patanti at ho, they fall back again to material existence. So there's no sense even aspiring after such a temporary thing that takes millions of years to accomplish and is eventually lost anyway. So why not just take the pure devotional service, which is so easily obtainable by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya? All you have to do is embrace this Krishna consciousness movement as your life and soul, and in this way, as a householder, as a brahmachari, as a sannyasi, as a vanaprastha, whatever doesn't matter whether you're male, female, white, black, young, old, sick, healthy. If you simply embrace Krishna consciousness as your life's mission, to be Krishna conscious and spread it as much as you can until your last dying breath, if you have that determination, you've already surpassed the liberation of these that takes thousands and millions of years to achieve. Any other questions? We could take a sneak preview here of the next section. Or we can just take an overview for the next, and we continue this as our next visit to Mauritius. There's three more, or actually four more. Pure devotional service automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure. Pure devotional service is rarely achieved. Those in pure devotional service deride even the conception of liberation, and pure devotional service is the only means to attract Krishna. So how is it then that pure devotional service puts one in transcendental pleasure? Automatically, you see. It's not that you have to go through some great endeavor to be in a state of transcendental pleasure. It happens automatically. In other words, You don't have to even try to be happy. Material, everybody's trying to be happy. They're trying to be happy, trying really hard. They go to a party, they try to enjoy the party, right? They go to some concert over here and they try to enjoy themselves. They have to work hard to try to be happy. But for a devotee, happiness comes automatically, because as soon as you think about pleasing Krishna, as soon as you think, how can I please Krishna? How can I give a lecture tonight that will please Krishna? How can I be in a state of mind that will please Krishna? As soon as you think about pleasing Krishna, your happiness is automatically there. That's the key. Because we always think of Krishna first, that's how we're always in a state of pleasure. Krishna also means greatest pleasure, Prabhupada explains. The two syllables, Krishna, also mean greatest pleasure. So when you endeavor to give Krishna the greatest pleasure by loving him, he gives you the greatest pleasure by showering his mercy upon you. So you don't have to endeavor for happiness in Krishna consciousness. All you have to do is endeavor to give happiness, you see. I endeavor to give happiness to my spiritual master. I endeavor to give happiness to the devotees. I endeavor to give happiness to Krishna, you see. Always be trying to give happiness. You don't have to even worry about getting it. The more you give it, the more it's automatically coming to you. This is the insider's secret. Don't try to get happiness, try to give happiness. And then you will have unlimited happiness, inconceivable unlimited happiness. You'll be swimming in an ocean of transcendental bliss at every minute. It's like another question has come in. Why strive for something which is rarely achieved? All right, that's number 4. Actually, it is rarely achieved, pure devotional. However, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, it's easily achieved. So we should take advantage of that mercy of Lord Chaitanya. By his mercy, it's very easy. Therefore we go, Nitai Gaur Haribo, or Gauranga, you see. We like to chant Gauranga's name, you see. We like that Panchatatvam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. You see, by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, that which is rarely achieved becomes easily achieved. So this is why in our movement we worship Lord Chaitanya. We have a huge center coming at Mayapur to worship Lord Chaitanya and his associates. You see, our world headquarters in Mayapur, worshiping Lord Chaitanya. You see, it's very important to worship Lord Chaitanya. You see, because that through his mercy, that which is normally very rarely achieved becomes very easily achieved. It's already not sure at the beginning. It's yes?
I'm just saying that it's really achieved. If you put the same austerity that we are putting for material benefit, this rarely achieved thing can become very easily achieved.
Very nice point from Guru Maharaji. If we just put the same amount of effort of putting in working our job or getting our education, it's easy to become Krishna conscious. I will even say, if you even put 1/10 of the endeavor you put into your job or your mundane education, you can easily become Krishna conscious. How many hours do you spend at work every day, every week? 40, 50?
It's not a pleasant
You see what I'm saying? Huh?
It's not a pleasant thing, but everybody does that as an austerity for every day going.
Yeah, every day going to work. So just if you put so much endeavor in earning a living, you just put a little endeavor into becoming Krishna conscious. Just like you're regulated to going to work, be regulated to do your bhakti first, you see. If you can just do a little, 2 or 3 hours of bhakti in the morning, Then you'll become very advanced in Krishna consciousness. If it is the follower of Chaitanya who wrote the Nectar of Devotion, yes. Why he still declared it as rarely achieved? That's an interesting question, intelligent question. It's rarely achieved for those who don't take shelter of Lord Chaitanya. That's a fact. The fact is, how many people are actually taking shelter of Lord Chaitanya? I mean, look, what is the population of Mauritius? How many people are taking? It is rare in that sense.
How many people can get the diamond?
Yeah, how many people how many people are wearing a diamond tonight? Anybody? Show up your hand if you're wearing a diamond. Don't worry, we're not going to. You're wearing a diamond? Yeah. Only one, you see. So mostly we just wear costume jewelry, you see, or some cheaper stuff.
It's rarely achieved because...
So the diamond's very rare here. Even tonight the diamond's very rare, you see.
Another thing is rarely achieved because Krishna doesn't want to give himself to everybody easily. Only by pure devotional service he can be achieved.
See, pure devotional service means Krishna becomes sold out to you. You become the controller of Krishna, just as Mother Jasada, as I explained last night, she told Krishna, you take those slippers to your father. And the little baby boy, he puts these big slippers on his head and he's carrying them across the room to give to Nanda Maharaj, you see. So, when you actually become the pure devotee, you become the controller of Krishna himself. He becomes under your direction. So Krishna doesn't easily give himself away like that. But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, it's easily achieved. But it's rare because hardly anybody is doing it. Of the world population, that Lord Chaitanya's mercy is available for the whole world. How many people are taking it? You see? And even in our movement, how many people are strictly following the regulated principles? So many devotees are deviating. You see? They're not chanting their rounds. Even initiated devotees are not keeping their vows. So we see it's rare. It is rare. But it doesn't have to be. Okay. And then the next one is, and those in pure devotional service derive the conception of liberation. We don't want that, waste our time with impersonal liberation. It's a waste of time. Shama avi kevalam. It's a useless labor to try to merge into Brahman. Forget it. Prabhupada one time said, he said, we don't want to become one with God, we want to become greater than God. You see. The impersonalist, after thousands and millions of years, can become one with God. At least the idea, the sense of being one with God. He's not really one with God, but he has the sense or feeling of being one with God after thousands and millions of years. So Prabhupada said, why become one with God? Become greater than God. That's our position. Krishna becomes a servant of his devotees. Is saying that it is easily achieved by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, contradicting the nectar of devotion? Of course not. I wouldn't contradict the nectar of devotion. I can back up. I don't speak my own. I've studied Prabhupada's teachings for half a century. What I speak is what I've read Prabhupada's teachings. I don't speculate some nonsense garbage, you see, my speculations. I've studied these teachings, I've practiced them for half a century, and I'm passing on to you what I have learned from Srila Prabhupada, and what I'm learning from him at every minute. Huh?
What was the question?
The question was, am I contradicting the nectar of devotion by saying that it's easily achieved? Have I contradicted nectar of devotion? That was the question.
It can be easily achieved if you practice.
Yeah. It's easily achieved for those who take it up seriously, but it's rarely because no one hardly does that. That's the point, you see. Manushyanam sahasreshu kashchid yajati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kashchin manmati tatpataha. Krishna says, out of thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection. Out of 1,000 have achieved perfection. Hardly even one knows me in truth. The same principle is taught in the Bhagavad Gita. You see? It's very, very rare. But those who take it seriously, it's easily achieved. By the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, if you take it seriously, it's easy to achieve it. Prabhupada made it easy for us. Those who took Prabhupada seriously, that yes, this is a great spiritual master, I'm going to surrender to him, I'm going to become his disciple, I'm going to follow his instructions, whatever Prabhupada says, I'm just going to do whatever he says, and give up all my independent nonsense. In such a mood, it becomes very easy to become Krishna conscious. For those who have taken, like we say, Bhakti Chaitanya Swami this morning, you see, here's a soul that's totally dedicated to Prabhupada. For him, it's easy to be Krishna conscious. He's not struggling to be Krishna conscious. Anybody who fully gives himself to Prabhupada or the representative of Prabhupada, their spiritual master, anybody who fully gives themselves, it's very easy to be Krishna conscious. If you don't give yourself fully, you're kind of like, you're thinking, well, I don't know about dipping into the water. It looks a little chilly. I'm not going to jump in. I'm just going to stick my toes a little bit. I'm not going to jump into this ocean of Krishna consciousness. Now you'll be in anxiety and you won't taste the bliss. For those that say, I'm going to trust Prabhupada, I'm going to trust my Guru, I'm just going to jump in and surrender, you see. Those who do that, who just say, okay, I'm going to fully surrender to this, and they get the result. They become liberated souls. Even in their present bodies, they become liberated souls. So, we can stop here. If there's nothing else, we thank everybody for tuning in. Hare